Welcome back to another Monster Hunter World tutorial. Today we are going to talk about the light and heavy bowguns. So I'm actually going to combine these videos because both of them share a lot of the same topics, and there's not a whole lot to go over as far as their weapons, but the external factors of them are shared between both weapons. So for light bowguns, you're going to have a little bit more mobility. For most ammos, you're going to be able to shoot while moving with a little bit less recoil. So let's talk about how to use bowgun. So to take it out, you can either hit Y or right trigger. To aim your bowgun, you want to hold left trigger, and then to fire is right trigger. Y is reloading. B is going to be your special ammo. And for light bowguns, these are going to be Wyvern Blast, which are flares that you can stick in the ground that explode when you shoot through them. It is worth noting, this is something I did not mention in my gunlance video, but when you have Wyvern Blast from a bowgun on the ground or a worm stake in the monster from the gunlance, anyone who uses shelling, any bowgun ammo will be able to set off worm stakes, and any attack from any weapon is going to be able to set off these flares if they hit them. Wyvern Blast is the only special ammo that light bowguns have, whereas heavy bowguns have two different ones called Wyvern Heart and Wyvern Snipe. We'll get into those here pretty soon. So again, Y is reload, left trigger aim, right trigger shoot, B is for special ammo, obviously evade, and X to put away. For all of our ranged weapons, we have the light bowgun, heavy bowgun, and the bow. We're going to be aiming with our left trigger, which is usually our claw and slinger. So we're going to hit right stick, and we now have access to our claw and slinger. You'll notice that a light bowgun, as you can guess, is a light weapon, and the heavy bowgun is a heavy weapon. So the light bowgun is going to give us some slinger ammo, which doesn't actually affect or empower the bowguns at all, and the heavy bowgun is going to tenderize for us. The melee attack is a YB, it's a close range, it does impact damage, but it is not really something you're ever going to want to be using. And I'll show you again, the light bowgun had the same melee attack as the heavy, and just so we know, we go up here and we actually tenderize with the heavy bowgun. The last piece we need to talk about is a little life hack to reloading. As you can see, some of the reload animations can be really long, so there is actually a good way to bypass this. So let's say I'm out of ammo. Any ledge that can make you fall like that, or that you have to climb up, if you evade off the side and then do a melee attack, which is just hitting Y in the air, it will automatically reload and it will be very quick. So I'm out of ammo, I need to reload, hit Y, and automatically reload. This works on all ledges no matter the height. As long as you take your weapon out and can do a Y attack, it will automatically reload the ammo that is currently selected. So cluster 3 I haven't even used, and there, already reloaded. And the last piece to mention is that the evading on heavy bowgun is a lot longer than normal evades, and it takes you a lot further. So that is also something to be mindful with when you're running heavy bowgun. Your dodging is going to be quite different than the rest of the weapons. We have a lot of ammo to talk about. We have deviation, custom mods, special ammo. There are a lot of components to a very simple weapon type that we need to cover. I already mentioned the special ammo. Wyvern Blast is inherent to all light bowguns. This is just something they come with. There's no other option for them. Whereas heavy bowguns, you need to load in a shot, and it will either be Wyvern Snipe, which is a piercing explosive shot. As you can see, it pierced and then it exploded. Or we have a Wyvern Heart. It's going to be the one that looks like multiple bullets above our ammos. So don't be fooled. I will say this is a modded weapon, so it has 100% affinity and 7500 attack. So you're not going to be doing this much attack, but this is going to turn it into a little Gatling gun. So that covers our special ammo. Let's talk about deviation really quick. On these guns, we have deviation average. That means when the bullet is shooting, it has deviation from the target is average, and you're not really going to want anything above average usually. You can place mods on the gun to decrease its deviation, but if you have higher deviation, that's going to make it so that while I'm shooting up here, the bullet's going to curve and land way out there or way out there, and that's not really helpful when you're running things that you need to be hitting the monster with because you don't have enough ammo to miss. So with deviation out of the way, let's go ahead and just talk about our ammos really quick. So normal 1 is going to be a normal ammo. This is just going to be an aim and shoot. It's going to do a basic amount of damage, and you're going to have an infinite amount at level 1. Level 2 and 3 of all ammos increase either their effects projectile or hit count, and their strength. So as you can see, normal 1 hits for 32, normal 2 hits for 64, and normal 3 hits for 108. You will notice as well, I can use this one while moving. This one requires a little bit of recoil, and normal 3 requires even more recoil. So usually the higher the ammo level, the more recoil it will have, and sometimes the reload speed will also be slower. As you can see, that is a little bit slower than that. So piercing is a very good ammo for long monsters. This is a good ammo for things like Shara Ishvalda, Safi, Xeno, and so forth. Anything that's big, Pierce can be very good against. So Pierce is going to be good for big monsters because it hits multiple times throughout the body, and the longer the body is that you're shooting through, the more ticks of damage it will do. With level 2 and 3, you're just going to be doing more hits through Pierce. Spread is going to be a shotgun ammo. I don't use this one as much, but I do believe that, if not anymore, at some point Spread was the absolute highest DPS in the game. This could absolutely destroy monsters, but you do have to be right up close to it, and there are specific builds to make sure that it is doing a lot of damage. We have all of our elemental ammos. We have water, thunder, fire, and freeze. And then we have Dragon. Dragon's going to be a little bit of special element where it has Elder Seal imbued. Elder Seal is an effect that we put on Elder Dragons to seal their special auras and Elder Dragon effects, like the Lunastra and Teostra Flame Aura, and so forth. Dragon ammo is also going to be a different kind of bullet. So it's going to shoot a slow bullet, and it's actually going to do piercing damage alongside elemental. So normal element, you just shoot, and then we get into Dragon, and it does piercing. This does a lot of damage, and it is very fun to use, but most bowguns actually do not have high Dragon capacity. So let's talk about some of our more fun ammos. Sticky 1, 2, and 3 are going to be our old Crag ammo from the other games, and that is going to stick into the monster and then explode after a short amount of time. This is always going to be stun damage, and this is a very fun build to run for bowguns. If you run Slugger and or Artillery, this is going to increase the damage and stun potency of every shot, making it very easy to knock out monsters. Again, Sticky 2 and 3 are just going to increase the damage. Slicing ammo is going to be another one that sticks into the monster, and it's going to be a little bit of a special ammo, as you can see. Sticks into the monster and then does a bunch of slicing damage. So that means we can actually shoot it into the tail of a monster and it will sever it. Now, there's two more fun ammos. One of them I did not have on that specific light bowgun. That is the Wyvern ammo. It's going to be a charge shot that does a pretty good amount of damage, and it is a one shot, usually with 5 ammo. This is the same attack as the Gun Lance heavy attack. And then we have cluster bombs. Cluster bombs are specific to heavy bowgun, and they are the only ammo specific to one of the two types of guns. So cluster is going to be an arc shot that goes into the air and splits then into 3, 4, or 5. Let's talk about our ailments. We have poison. Poison is going to just do some damage over time once it procs. Paralysis is going to paralyze the monster after a few shots. Sleep is going to put the monster to sleep after a few shots, which is good for sleep bombing, where you just put barrel bombs on the head. And exhaust finally is going to exhaust the monster, getting rid of its stamina so that it comes out of its enraged state a little bit quicker, and it also can enter those drooling states. So we have recover, demon, and armor. I do not have demon and armor on this light bowgun, but I did on my heavy bowgun. Recover is going to be a shot that you shoot at your teammates. It does not affect the monster at all, it just goes straight through it. It is going to recover health. Demon is going to increase your teammates' attack, and armor is going to increase their defense. The final ammo we have to talk about is the trank ammo. So a tranquilizing round that only works for monsters in a trap. If you paralyze a monster or put it to sleep or otherwise, this will not work. It has to be in a shock or pitfall trap. It has to be ready for capture. Once it is low enough in health and it is in a trap, just like trank bombs, you will shoot 2 and it will capture it. So let's go ahead and look at building our bowguns with mods and the skills that we are going to want to look at, as well as the ammo compatibility. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at the ammo types as well as their specific specialties. So depending on the light bowgun you have, some of them may have 2 yellow up arrows on them, and that is going to be a rapid fire sign. So if you have rapid fire on it, it is going to consume 1 ammo and shoot 3 shots. To be able to see that menu, you can go to anywhere in your gun, hit left stick, and you can now see what ammos have rapid fire and single fire auto reload. This means that as soon as you shoot a shot, it will automatically reload it for you in the quickest reload animation that is in the game. So as you can see, water and thunder ammo both have rapid fire, but none of my ammo has single fire reload. Rapid fire is a light bowgun specific one, whereas both of them can have auto reloading. Here you can also see the recoil levels, the capacity, and its reload speeds. Alternatively, if you come into customized bowgun from either the box or the smithy, you can go ahead and look through all of these mods and how they affect your gun. So let's talk about recoil suppressor first. So recoil suppressor is going to do exactly what it sounds like. It's going to lower the amount of recoil that our shots have, and the amount of mods that we put on it will increase the effects. So for instance, let's look at normal ammo 1. With none of these mods on, it is going to have average recoil, and even with 1 mod on, it is going to do average recoil. But if we throw 2 recoil mods on, it's going to have low, and throwing any more on will not do anything for normal 1 ammo. So if you're building for a specific one, say sticky ammo 1, we have no mods, it's going to have very high recoil, so we want to have at least 1 on there to have high recoil instead. But then you have level 1, 2, and 3 all keep it at high recoil, so you need 4 recoil mods to have average recoil. So this is where you can start planning out where you want to compensate for the gun type you are using and for the specific build that you want. Recoil and deviation suppressors and reload assistance are the most common mods that you'll find on bowguns. Reload assist works the exact same way. The number of this mod will affect the ammo types differently. For instance, pierced ammo 3 is going to be affected differently than dragon ammo based on how many mods are slotted in. Deviation suppressor is going to be similar, but it's not going to change based on the ammo type anymore. It's just going to apply to the bowgun as a whole. And if you have no deviation on your gun, it will not let you equip this. So close range mod is going to increase the close range damage you do, and this is going to be pretty helpful for something like spread ammo. Ranged attack up is going to be the opposite, where it's going to increase things like maybe pierce where you want to be farther away, or even wyvern snipe. You notice for these next two, this is for heavy bowgun only. So a shield is going to be an auto guard feature, whereas if you are not shooting, you're not doing anything, but if you're standing still or walking with your gun out, if you get attacked, it will automatically shield for you. A special scope is going to increase the effects of your critical range. So the only other mod that affects critical range is going to be long barrel, but we'll get into that in a minute. Special scope is going to increase the damage while you're in your critical range. So when you're using a certain ammo, there's going to be a time when the crosshair has 2 orange circles, and that is going to be your critical range. If you're too far away or too close, it is going to display 1 yellow circle, and if you're even further away, it will just say out of range. Evading reload is going to be light bowgun only, and that special evade that I had showed you where you step to the side and then slide. This consumes a lot of stamina because it is 2 evade charges, but every level of evading reload is 1 bullet that you automatically reload when you evade, and that is very helpful for something if you're just absolutely dumping ammo down a monster's throat. Wyvern Heart Type 2 and Wyvern Snipe Type 2 are going to be specific to heavy bowgun, because Wyvern Blast is going to be the only light bowgun mod that affects special ammo, since that is the only special ammo light bowgun has. Wyvern Heart mod is going to increase the power as successive rounds hit the monster. So that is the Gatling gun one that I was talking about, meaning as you hit the monster more, it's going to increase the damage that the Gatling is doing. Wyvern Snipe is no longer going to become a piercing shot. It's going to stick to the outside of the monster. It's going to be extremely effective against weak points. So if the monster's weak point is a head, you're going to want to be aiming this at the head. If it's the body or the tail, that's what you're going to want to be aiming at, and you're going to be able to make the most use out of it then. This is better for things that are not big monsters, so maybe like Kirin, Tsitsiyaku, or any of these smaller bird wyvern. Wyvern Blast is going to be the light bowgun one, where instead of setting 3 flares in the ground, you actually dodge backwards while shooting out a flare towards the monster, leaving it to be a counterattack. Power Barrel is going to be the weapon style that I run. This is going to enhance piercing damage and stun and exhaust effects. So the way I run bowguns is usually sticky and piercing ammo, which are stun and piercing, as opposed to maybe spread or ailments or otherwise. So Power Barrel is going to be one that is going to specifically help me, and that's going to be one that I want to run on my bowguns. Again, there are so many different ways to build bowguns, so it's completely up to you. You have 4 mods on light bowgun, so feel free to customize it as you want. And Long Barrel is going to enhance ammo speed, extending both maximum and critical range. So this is going to make your maximum range further, so when it says out of range, you have a little bit more room for that. Between all these mods, recoil, reload, deviation, close range, ranged attack, shield, evading, reload, all stack to increase the effects of them. The special scope, Wyvern Heart, Wyvern Snipe, Wyvern Blast mods, and the power and long barrel do not stack. Those can only be equipped once. With all of that finally out of the way, we have a lot of skills to cover with our bowguns, because there's going to be a lot of ammo specific ones and some other things that we can look into. So let's jump into our skills. So we're only going to be focusing on the gunner specific skills and what actually will be helpful. We're not going to cover things like offensive guard, where you can put a slot of shield on your heavy bowgun and then have counterattack. You can look into those yourself, but we're going to talk about the skills that are going to affect the bowgun itself. Handicraft is actually going to be one of the few skills that does not affect bowguns, and as you can see, it extends the weapon's sharpness gauge. Anything sharpness related, so speed sharpening, those do not apply to bowguns because obviously they do not have sharpness levels, they have ammo. The first skill we're going to look at is free element / ammo up. So free element is a blade master skill, and ammo up is the gunner counterpart we're going to be looking at. This is going to expand the clip size for most ammos at level 3. This is going to be pretty helpful for just constantly shooting monsters. Razor Sharp and Spare Shot is going to be huge. This is a must-have skill for gunning. This is going to make it for bows and bowguns. These shots have a chance to not expend ammos or coatings. So when I'm shooting, I have a chance to not consume the bullet, and that makes it so that I don't lose the bullet, but I also save that bullet in my clip, so it's not going to put me one closer to reloading. Highly recommended skill to run for any of your gunner sets. So let's talk about spread power shots. So it's going to increase the power of spread ammo here. The power shots in Thousand Dragons is going to apply to bows, and I'll get to that in my next video. Piercing shots is going to do the exact same thing. The Dragon Piercer is going to be for bows, but the piercing ammo is going to be affected by this. So then we have the normal shots, which is just going to increase the power of normal ammo. And then we have special ammo boost. This is going to increase the power of the bowgun's special ammo. Again, that's going to be Wyvern Blast, Wyvern Heart, and Wyvern Snipe. Again, speed sharpening is going to be a skill that does not affect bowguns. So something that I highly recommend is going to be both Artillery and Slugger. These both go up to level 3 and level 5 with their secrets. Artillery is going to increase the sticky ammo damage by 50%, and Slugger is going to increase the stun power by 60% on sticky ammo. Stamina Thief is going to be similar to Slugger, whereas if you're running exhaust ammo, this is going to increase its power by up to 60% with the secret. Let's talk about the set bonuses. Transcendence is going to grant true Razor Sharp and Spare Shot. This is going to make the Spare Shot, which does not consume your ammo, proc a little bit more often than the normal Spare Shot. Alternatively, the Nargacuga Essence also has true Razor Sharp and Spare Shot. This is where the skill originally comes from. Frostfang Berry is going to have Slugger Secret to increase it up to 60% at level 5. Raging Brachydios is going to give you Artillery Secret, which is going to increase your sticky ammo up to 50%. Mind's Eye and Ballistics on the Rajang set. It's not going to be on the Furious set, but this is going to shorten the distance before ammo and arrows reach maximum power. So I believe that is referring to its critical range. And again, Zora Magdaros has the Artillery Secret, bumping it up to level 5 for 50% more power to sticky ammo. Teostra set bonus is not going to affect bowguns at all. The Savage Deviljho has Stamina Thief Secret, bumping it up to level 5 at 60% more exhaust power. Protective Polish from both the Odogaron and the Ebony Odogaron do not affect bowgun. This is a sharpness only. Both Diablos and Black Diablos have the Slugger Secret, bumping it up to level 5 at 60% more stun power. Both Rathalos and Azura Rathalos have the Mind's Eye and Ballistics on them. That is again going to shorten the distance before ammo and arrows reach maximum power. Again, I do think that is referring to this critical range. So that about covers everything for the heavy and light bowguns. I know it was a little bit longer video than the tutorials I usually do, but since they are so similar and have so many different factors that are shared between the two, I think it would be easier to get an understanding of both of them at the same time and know their differences so that you can choose whether or not you want a heavy or a light bowgun, because they do both have their drawbacks. I'll be posting more Monster Hunter World tutorials as well as Rise tutorials that is now coming out on console in January 20th. So I will be making a whole bunch of Rise tutorials as well. Go ahead and check out some of my Monster Hunter Rise tutorials once I start making those around January.
So as you can see, by shooting enough slicing ammo, you can cut the tail off.